My brothers and sisters, good evening. We always want victory. We do not want defeat. Correct? Victory will be ours if we follow the will of God. However, if we oppose the will of God, then we will surely have or defeat or doom will surely come upon us. This is one of the things that the readings for this Tuesday, the 15th week in ordinary time in the church, would like to tell us. That victory will be ours if we follow the will of God is clear from the first reading from the book of the prophet Isaiah. Here, Rezin, king of Aram, and Pekah, king of Israel, join forces together in order to invade Judah with the hope to subdue it. And upon hearing this, Ahaz, the king of Judah and his people, trembled in great fear, like the trees of the forest. It is said here, like the trees of the forest tremble in the wind. Now, this is not just the wind. It will be a mighty typhoon that was to blow them, because two kings joined forces against Judah. But you know, the Lord sent the prophet Isaiah to Ahaz, the king of Judah, to tell him to remain calm or tranquil and not fear and not let his courage fail. Now, Ahaz, the king of Judah, followed the will of God. He mastered courage and fought against the two kings, and they won. So, if we follow the will of God, victory will surely be ours. Now, on the other hand, in the gospel, those residing in the towns of Chorazin, Bethsaida, and Capernaum opposed the will of God because they did not repent from their sins. And because they oppose the will of God, doom, not only doom, would come upon them, but graver punishment. So for those residing in the towns of Chorazin and Bethsaida, graver punishment will come upon them compared to those in Tyre and Sidon. The Lord said to them, "Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the mighty deeds done in your midst had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would long ago have repented in sackcloth and ashes. But I tell you, it will be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon on the day of judgment than for you. And for those residing in Capernaum, graver punishment also will come upon them, because compared rather to Sodom, because as the Lord said, will you be Capernaum? Will you be exalted to heaven? You will go down to hell. So indeed, my brothers and sisters, if we oppose the will of God, what awaits us is not only doom, but graver punishment. But if we follow the will of God, then what awaits us is sure victory. This reminds us of Saint Camillus de Lelis, whose memory we celebrate today. At first, his life was opposed to the will of God. He was a soldier who lived a very wild, and dissolute life. It was in the army that he picked up his most terrible vice, gambling, and he was addicted to it. And it was also in the army that he got his incurable wound that never healed until his death. But to make the long story short, due to the exhortation of a Franciscan friar, among other things, Camillus was converted and never stopped doing penance for his sinful past. And ultimately, he dedicated his whole life to God by becoming a priest. You see that, He became a priest and dedicated also his whole life to the care of the sick. Dahil he was also sick, ang ginawa niya, he cared for the sick. He had been sick for his whole life. His incurable wound did not heal. So he dedicated his whole life caring for the sick. Ultimately, his life already following the will of God, Camillus won the victory of being a terrible gambler, becoming a saint. So there is always hope for those who are having a worse life opposed to the Lord. That ultimately, by the grace of God, they will change their life following His will and gaining victory.